One is busy, so we want to get started on time so that you can get out of here on time. With that, who are we? Do we have everyone, Mr. Sharfman? Okay, so I'm gonna.
Shall I start? Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I really, on the behalf of the Shah organization, I welcome you all for this event and thank you for making this event successful. So I would like to introduce here Mr. Ian Schaufman. He is the principal attorney in the Schaufman law firm PLLC. Mr. Schaufman is board certified in labor and employment law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. He practices employment law in federal and state courts at both the trial and appellate levels, in addition to administrative and agency proceedings. He has been repeatedly named a Texas super lawyer as one of the best lawyers in America and one of the Houston's top lawyers by various publications. He has served on a number of professional and charitable nonprofit boards and committees, including his current service on the Fort Bend Education Foundation Board. He received his Bachelor's of Arts degree with a major in political science from Emory University and earned his Juris Doctor degree from the University of Houston Law Center. Oh, wow, it's a lot. He and his wife have two adult children who have grown up in Fort Bend ISD schools, and they have been students of the city of Sugar Land for close to 30 years. Now, I would like to give you the background about Disha. Disha's mission and objective. Disha USA is a Hindu faith-based non-profit, non-partisan organization focused on increasing civic engagement among Hindu communities. As our senior advisors, our mission is to increase awareness among our community about voting. We reach out to voters with reminders and ask them to do their civic duty. Every year, we host multiple candidates forum to provide a platform to the candidates to share that vision as well as enable our community to interact and learn from candidates so that they can make an educated decision during voting. As a 501c3 organization, we never support or oppose any candidate or party. We let the voters decide for themselves. Thank you. I will let Ian take over.
All right. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone here. Welcome, everyone on the Facebook live stream. We've got a nationwide audience. Maybe someone's nationwide, but it's very cool. So you could say hello to nation. And want to welcome everyone for joining us for this forum. And really, I think it's important for us as a community to have these kind of forums to really enhance civic engagement and be able to have you, the candidates, be able to talk directly to all the individuals in this community so that you can share your positions, your opinions, and they get to know who you are. And because too many times people don't have that opportunity. And I know this is, I think, what, your 95th forum this cycle yet. So obviously you're ready to go for the early voting. That's tomorrow. You're in the home stretch. We've got early voting. Don't forget, everyone, early voting starts tomorrow. And we're on the race to the election. So we also want to thank Disha USA. Thank you for having me as a moderator, and thank you for putting on this forum. Let's give a round of applause to Disha. And I also don't want to forget, I think it goes unnoticed sometimes. I want to give a round of applause to all the candidates here because you're stepping up. You're stepping up for public service, and you're stepping up to represent the people for Precinct 4, to do the best for Precinct 4. And I think that is deserving of an honor, and we appreciate your support and your public service, and you taking that step to be able to make a commitment to run for public service as a civil servant here in Fort Bend County. So let's give everyone a round of applause here as candidates. So everyone has been given the ground rules and the format, and I'll get to that in one moment. But just to also announce some elected officials and candidates who are here. We've got Jazar Wazim, who's here. Thank you. And candidates, we've got Montreal Peterson, Sonia Jones, and Stephen Longoria. Thank Thank you all for coming. So the ground rules for the people here, the audience watching, and the nationwide audience as well, we're going to be doing this in terms of opening remarks, and everyone's going to have in order opening remarks, going from position 1 to position 10. And just so everyone knows, your seated positions were done by random drawing of a number. So there's no rhyme or reason to it other than just being drawn so everyone realizes how the seating worked. And also the questions that are going to be asked today, no one has been given any of the questions or advance notice of the questions, and the questions will only be heard for the first time by the candidates today for everyone here and for the audience. We're going to have opening remarks. Opening remarks will start from seat 1 down to seat 8, and each opening remarks will be 1 minute long. Now, then after the opening remarks, we're going to have the question session. For the question session, the question and answer session will be 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds. 90 seconds sounds so much faster, so I'll say 1.5 minutes. And each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer. Now, what we've done is we've done a kind of a follow-on so that in case any of the candidates want to be able to tack onto that question, they love that question, they don't love the answer to the question that someone else gave, whatever you'd like to do, that way you can tack it on. Of course, we want to have 100% civility in all of this proceeding here for this forum, but we want to give everyone an opportunity to be able to address certain questions that you might not have had an opportunity to do. So what you'll see is in the back, you'll see a scoreboard, and the scoreboard has little tick marks by everyone's name. You'll get 4 follow-ons. Each follow-on is 30 seconds. So you've got a question, you've got 1.5 minutes for the answer, and if someone wants to do a follow-on, you'll let me know, I'll recognize you, and one of your follow-ons will be used. Once you're done with the 4 follow-ons, you don't have any more follow-ons, so use them strategically. And then at the end, we're going to have a closing remarks, and the closing remarks will be 1 minute long as well. And we'll start at seat 8 and go back down to seat 1. So during this time, I'll be asking the questions. We'll be drawing from here. I might have some people in the audience draw questions as well. We have 4 categories for those in the audience. The categories are leadership, governance, and community representation, mobility, infrastructure, and growth management, public safety, emergency response, and community resilience, and health, environment, and quality of life. So we've covered all the bases here Disha has, so we're very happy to do that. And then finally, if I can get everyone's agreement, I know many of you have earned titles of various nature from your different elected official service or education or what have you. I'm just going to be referring to you by your name, by your first name. So if that's all right with everyone, that way we have everything nice and even as a playing field for all those who are here today. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and start with the first. This is going to be for everyone, but so of course, it's tough to listen to myself. So please go ahead, Brittany, you'll start us off in 1 minute. And just so you know, in the back, so used to it, the gentleman waving his hand, he has the ringer. It has a smiley face on it, so you'll be able to find it. So what'll happen is when you have your 1.5 minute answers, not for the opening and closing, he'll let you know when there's 30 seconds left. That is actually a cool sound, but that is not in the program, so you won't have that for when you stop as well. Then what we do is when everything is done, he will ring the bell at the final time. So you only get 2 bells on the 1.5 minute answers, just to give you a heads up. All right, please, Brittany, the floor is yours for 1 minute for your opening statements.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany Morris. I am a former district court judge. I am a licensed practicing attorney, and I'm also a small business owner in Fort Bend County. I own a small title company right down the street on Highway 6. So it is a pleasure to serve the community and contest for this position. I come from a background of service. My father was a police officer for nearly 40 years, and my mother was a teacher. So service has been instilled in my blood, and And so therefore, that is what I'm contesting to do. My platform is very simple: unity in the community. We need that now more than ever. I want to improve infrastructure. I want to address animal welfare. I also want to bring a county hospital to Fort Bend County because we do not have one. My name is Brittany Morris, and I look forward to telling you more about my platform and these further questions. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. My name is April Jones. I have been in Fort Bend for 30 years. I attended the University of St. Thomas. I have a BA in political science. I'm also a certified paralegal. I've been on the ground doing the work in the community. I'm also the HOA president. I've been the president for Mission Glen for 8 years. I'm also an elected official on the MUD board and also a small business owner. I'm a subject matter expert in contracts as well, and former captain and precinct chair in the party and former Democratic Party treasurer for the party. My platform is ensuring that we not be wasteful with the budget and going in to audit the budget. My second priority is infrastructure, ensuring that we start now looking at widening our roads, our bridges instead of later. So now, because in several years, the road, April Jones.
Hello? Okay, got it. Yeah. Hey guys, Maggie Solomon here, Democratic on the County Commission for County Commissioner Precinct 4. I have been in Fort Bend for the last 23 years. I am a local CPA, small business owner, a mom of 2 daughters. Why am I running for County Commissioner for Precinct 4? Because the question that I always ask is, why does this happen? What is happening behind the scenes and closed doors? I want to bring transparency and bring pragmatic solutions to county to make sure that we understand what is going on. I want to make you part of the decision making on an everyday, and I want to be here to serve you as a person.
Thank you, Ashiji, for putting this thing together. Thank you, Ian, for your detailed explanation. My name is Ramesh Cherivirala. I have been in this country for almost 35 years. I came from India with a PhD in organic chemistry and moved to Houston 28 years ago and changed my career into finances. I have been a financial advisor for the past 25 years. I am experienced in the numbers, financial industry, so I don't need to learn how to read balance sheets or how to read profit and loss statements. I don't need to learn how to read the budgets. So I am ready to go on the first day, help you to save your taxes and manage the money, find the waste and the abuse and fraud with the money that we are spending. Thank you. My name is Ramesh Cherivirala.
Let me get the timer right. Oh. Hi, my name is Robert Inake. I am here because Fort Bend gave my family a chance. Like so many of you, my parents came to America looking for their better opportunities. I'm a first generation son of Nigerian immigrants. My dad came to America, started a successful business. My mom rose to become the director of the ER at St. Joseph's Hospital. But one day her kidneys failed. And when that happened, our family was at risk of going under. And this community made sure friends, neighbors, teachers, strangers wrapped their arms around us and kept us afloat. That's why I was able to graduate with an MBA from Rice University, and why I was proud to serve as the Director of Community Relations for Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo. And that is why I'm running for county commissioner, to make sure that every family, every individual has that opportunity to have that strong and safe community for their families to thrive. Thank you.
Beneficial, most merciful, Namaste. Thank you, Disha, for hosting this event today. My name is Nabil Shaikh, and for the last 4 years, I was honored to serve as the Fort Bend County Precinct 3 and the Precinct 4 Constable. Born and raised in A-Leaf, moved to Fort Bend County back in 2005, graduated from George Bush High School, have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a minor in forensic psychology and a Juris Doctorate from Thurgood Marshall School of Law. And now I'm running to be your next Fort Bend County Precinct 4 Commissioner to put people over politics and bring that unity back into our community. And my platform is very simple. It's putting public safety first, infrastructure, and flood mitigation. Thank you, and I look forward to participating in this forum.
My name is Arun Mughal, and I'm running for the Fort Bend County Commissioner. I'm currently working with the Fort Bend County District Clerk Office as a Chief Deputy overseeing passport, jury administration, call center, and customer service areas. I've done my master's in IT and bachelor's in computer science and management. I've been in the Fort Bend County for over like 16 years as my home. I'm also a community liaison for Sheriff Eric Fagan. I'm being the director for Sheriff Foundation. I was immediately past president for Homeowner Association. I have been serving in several boards, including the Fort Bend Volunteer and a lot of nonprofit organization helping my community with this Fort Bend County as a diverse county. I've been there for almost 16 years now. I'm currently going for this. I'm going to tell you more after the break.
Thank you. I stand over here in the name of Yeshua Yahweh HaMashiach. My name is Abolaji Ayobami. I'm a pastor by calling, a husband of a beautiful wife and father of 3 beautiful children. I'm a professional civil structural and environmental engineer. I have a small business I've run for the past 14 years. I live in Fort Bend County for the past 19 years. I want to tell you I'm here today because government is not broken. It's the people that run the government that are broken. And we got to be careful of cosmetic political candidates who are running for office or who are in office right now to avoid the syndrome of office holder. I am the only candidate that's ready on day one to go forward and fix what is wrong with the county government by having a star: sustainability, transformation, accountability, and reliability, and a efficiency of our government. So please, if you are watching Mission President 4, thank you. God bless.
Thank you all. And I'd also like to announce a candidate who's just joined us, Brendetta Scott. And also, if we could please put all of our cell phones on silence, please, that would be appreciated. And if you don't mind, if you do get a call, if you're able to take it outside, thank you. All right, with that in mind, I'm going to give you the first question, and I'm going to toss a softball to you. So the first question, by a show of hands, which one of the candidates here today want to do what's best for the constituents of Precinct 4, Fort Bend County? By a show of hands, there we go. See, all right, well, I know this is tough, but we got Republicans and Democrats to all raise their hands at the same question. And this is what I mean about public service, and this is why we appreciate everyone stepping up to the plate for that. So the first question is and we'll go start with Brittany. The first question is, what is your long-term vision for Precinct 4? And you have a minute and a half, and there's not going to be any follow-ons for this because everyone's going to be having a minute and a half for this question. Yeah.
Are you going to ring the bell and do that? Okay.
30-second bell.
All right, thank you. All right, so my vision, long-term vision for Fort Bend County, making it a place that is healthcare accessible. I've spoken about this several times in most of the forums, but my goal is to bring a county hospital to Fort Bend County. Not only will this bring more jobs to the area, and more people that are buying houses and paying into our county, it will also help those who are uninsured or underinsured have the resources that they need. Currently, we do not have a county hospital, so you will have to go to Ben Taub in Houston to have a level 1 trauma center or to have a county accessible hospital, meaning not a private hospital. So there are people that absolutely need that. So that is one of my long-term visions. Another vision is the unity in the community. And what I mean by that is making sure we have language accessibility all throughout Precinct 4, from our newsletters to our updates and everything else in between. As we look around this room, we all come from different backgrounds with different native tongues. So we need to make sure that everyone understands what's going on and they're updated. I want to have updates of Commissioner's Court as well. Addition to that, we need to improve the infrastructure and the mobility. We don't need to have flooding causing people their houses or their paycheck because they cannot get to work. So we need to make sure that our bonds are adequately in place, they are funded properly, and we have the best contractors for those roles to make sure Fort Bend County is accessible, we have health care, and we're taking care of our citizens.
Thank you. So we see a lot of people now who have medical conditions. We need constables and people who are trained in this area to see these mental issues within our people. That's on the rise. That's what I'm seeing today, and ensuring that these people are getting help in this area instead of the police are killing people, not understanding that they have mental issues. Another another vision for me is to ensure we are communicating with all diverseness of folks within Precinct 4. Right now, we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people who don't speak English. We need to ensure that we are addressing the needs of all people, all cultural people in Precinct 4. Another vision is also infrastructure. As Fort Bend grows, and I think we're almost at 1 million people, but in the next couple years, it will surpass that. We need to ensure that we are focusing on roads and bridges and ensuring that we don't encounter flooding, as we've seen a lot in Harris County. Thank you so much.
Well, for me, for long-term planning is, well, number one, I want to say, obviously, as a first Latina generation candidate, obviously, my contenders here have mentioned before, accessibility to language is a big priority for me. But second of all, I wanted for when people come to Fort Bend, I want people to feel that they can come here, develop, have a career. Affordability is a big thing currently right now. We need to make programs where single moms or widows can continue to afford their home and not have to, leave their home. Second of all, we need to make sure that our youth, which is the generation for the next day, we need to make sure that we are creating programs. Not everyone is going to be able to go to college, and that is completely fine, but we need to make sure that there is career paths for them in trades or any certifications that we can provide here in our county. So those are my two top things. I can continue and talk about public safety infrastructure just like any other candidate, but my top two things is to make sure that we develop programs for our youth and our women here, and also make sure that there is language accessibility.
I'm going to borrow all their visions, and also I'm going to steal all their visions. But in terms of what I'm planning to do is I want to make sure the county spends their money wisely and budget their wisely and within their means. Why am I saying it was around $380 million? In 2026, our budget is $760 million. We doubled our revenue in the last 7 years. I'm not sure how many people, their salaries doubled in the last 7 years, but our budget has doubled in the last 7 years. In spite of doubling our revenue, we are this year spending $39 million more than what we have received. Where this money is coming from? This money is coming from the people, our predecessors saved up for a rainy day fund, over $190 million. We are spending that rainy day fund to live. I think that has to change. In addition to spending more money than we receive, we have a $2 billion in debt. We are using 17% of our revenue towards debt service, which is not sustainable. We had to sustain and stay alive for a longer period, the Fort Bend County sustain for a longer period, not just spend money.
What would my long-term vision be? I think we have a lot of issues that we all can agree on that we think are pressing. But I think what is most important, and the thing I love about our county the most, is our community. I think that's what keeps people here. That's what is so unique about Fort Bend, how so many people from diverse backgrounds can come together and thrive. That's what I'd want to protect more than anything. We have one of the most educated communities in the entire nation. So making sure we're allowing everyone to have an opportunity to contribute their ideas, whether it's advisory boards or committees, so people feel connected. Different communities feel like their cultures are celebrated. So you have not only, I've heard a number of people say, and it breaks my heart, tolerated. I don't think anyone should be tolerated. We should be celebrated. We should all have the ability to thrive in Fort Bend. That's what has allowed me to be able to be fluent and comfortable in so many spaces. I think it is a superpower we give to kids and people who come into our county. And I think when you have that solid foundation, when people can collaborate together, when they know they're in a safe, strong community where people respect one another, that allows us to tackle things like lowering the property taxes. That allows us to tackle things like these investments we need to make into water, into infrastructure, into all of these other things. I think we see a problem, and we know we have a trustee who just came into the room. We have Fort Bend ISD rebalancing. That allows us to come into those conversations with trust. Sorry to put you on the spot, but those are real issues that we're confronting and allows us to work together.
All right. So my vision in the next 5 years, very simple. It's to continue to have a thriving, more prosperous Fort Bend County. Fort Bend County has been my home again since 2005. And the change that I have seen and the growth that I have seen has been exponential. But with that growth, we also have to invest into public safety. You know, when we go and travel to another country, what's one of the first things that we all think about? Safety, right? When we are opening businesses, our South Asian communities are opening businesses, what's one of the primary concerns? Because we deal with a lot of cash and we walk around with a lot of jewelry. Safety. So we have to invest heavily into public safety. And by public safety, I'm not just talking about pay parity for the police officers. I'm talking about investing into the district attorney's office, investing into our judges, investing into our law enforcement, investing into our street lights, into our roads, into smart lighting systems to prevent road rage incidents, right? So that's where my vision is, to make sure that our county stays safe. Again, I'm a father of 3 beautiful daughters, and I understand in order to keep my daughters safe, I have to be able to keep everybody safe, right? And there's simple things that we can do to keep us safe. We're losing a lot of money, a lot of tax revenue out in the Mission Bend area, more than $23 million a year to the city of Houston. None of that tax revenue comes to Fort Bend County. We need to bring that money back to Fort Bend County. Thank you.
Our vision for next 4 years. First, I will start with infrastructure, the drainage, the flooding, and the smart growth. Like we see a lot of people are moving into the Fort Bend County, so we need to work on future development. We just secondly, I want to work on the public health. As I just heard it, like we have lack of public health sector in Fort Bend County, especially we are a little behind as far as like even we look at the Harris County side. So we need to invest in that sector. Third one is the more into the law enforcement and public safety. So definitely with the smart, like a lot of people, like almost we are the 1 million, and we need to just invest in the future for our investment in the safety for our families and all that. Last, I want also to add on with our like a community engagement. I want to make sure like every communities are involved and they're respected. They're part of the Fort Bend County in the same way like they're being the how the county look like. I really feel this is how I believe that our diversity is our strength. We need to make sure how we move forward in the future. We all need to be united and prosperous as one. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have two approach, the short-term approach and the long-term approach. The short-term approach is the first 9 months of the administration of my commission. I will lead a public charge for public efficiency, transparency in the administration, where I myself and every employees we have to sign that our job to the community is to serve the people first efficiently and effectively. And we're going to make it happen by first 9 months. There will be a total transformation in the county commission. The long-term goal, 4 years you mentioned about, it look like a donkey years. But let me tell you, each year there will be a commission of a major infrastructural project that will benefit the life of the citizen or the resident of Fort Bend County. I will support anything that the public safety, the sheriff of the county will do to have a kind of a drone type surveillance that will go all around the whole county so that our life, our people shall be kept safe. The third one is that I will make sure there is a recreational relationship between our students, either academic or vocational, as well as all our seniors, where they can go and take care of their body instead of looking for curative about health, to have a situation where their body is taken care of, where they will be able to do whatever they need to do without anybody disturbing them. The last one is that we're going to make sure there is a total accountability of whatever we need to spend in our budget. There will be open access, unfettered access to the office when I get office.
All right, thank you all. We have another elected official who got the unofficial shout out, but I'll do the official shout out, Afshi Sharania. Thank you so much for joining us. You're not being singled out. All the elected officials and candidates are being called, but thank you so much for joining. All right, I'll be drawing for the first question, and this first question is going to go to Brittany. And now, just remember, any of you can do follow-ons. Just raise your hand if you want to do a follow-on. Let me know, and I'll call on you. Thank you. All right, the first question, Brittany, for you, for drawing, is how will you ensure new developments include adequate road capacity?
That's a great question. So I think this goes to impact fees for developers when they're creating these new developments or they're trying to move business into our area. If you don't know, Precinct 4 used to be the largest precinct. Now it's the smallest precinct. We don't have as much unincorporated area as we previously did. So we do not have the geographic terrain for more warehouses or anything of that sort. But when we have developers coming in to build neighborhoods, they need to keep that in mind when they're building grocery stores, because we don't want food deserts. There's places like Mission Bend and places like Four Corners, which sometimes could be considered a food desert. There's not adequate grocery and things of that nature. But we need to make sure when we're allowing those developers to come into our area, they're paying the fees to increase the roads and add an extra lane or increase the width that's there, because there's going to be a lot more traffic in transit. We see this more than anywhere in the Amazon facility on Harlem Road. That Amazon facility is there, but again, getting to the Target or getting to any of those areas takes you a lot longer because the road was not widened in anticipation of additional traffic that would be trafficking in that area. So we need to make sure the developers' plans, when they go to Commissioner's Court or they go to the county to get approved, that it anticipates future growth and it anticipates the roads and the lanes that need to be addressed. Not retrospectively, but we need to do this prospectively, considering that this will likely be what occurs.
Follow-ons? Anyone want to follow on to that? Sure, I'll repeat the question. The question is, how will you ensure new developments include adequate road capacity. And I believe, Ayubami, you
Yes.
have your hand up.
Yeah, as a civil structural and environmental engineer, you must have an oversight function over every developmental project. Before you do anything, there must be a proper planning. The problem is that if you have somebody in the office who does not have the knowledge of the engineering factor put into it, they will do something that will be shabby. As a commissioner in that precinct, I will make sure every project that we do is well planned, and I will physically oversee it to visit the site to make sure they are doing the right thing. Because when you do a project, there should be a way to decongest the traffic, and you must make sure you put a material that are not plasticized. That's why we have either concrete or flexible paving.
All 30 seconds. Thank you. Anyone else with a follow-on? All right. The next question is for April. Your question is, how will you handle disagreements with other commissioners?
I like that question. So, what I've learned over the years is to listen. I'm the HOA president, so I have to listen to the residents when they have issues. They come to me with issues. I would do the same on Commissioner's Court. I think we need to be respectful to each other and listen to each other's position, whether we agree with it or not, because I think we can all learn from each other. We may do things, none of us do things the same. We may do things different and reach the same conclusion. So the bottom line here is listening to each other's points of views. Thank you.
Anyone with a follow-on?
Can I follow up first question? I thought we are all going to answer the same
While the question is still on the table, so we've moved on to the next one. Yeah, sorry, Ramesh. But follow on for this question. Ayubami has hand, and then I believe Nabil, do you want to do next? Okay.
When you have competent people in office, there's no need for disagreement. It's only when people don't know what to do, that's why they come to the court and they begin to argue and to disagree. Everyone in the county, we are looking for the same opportunity, the same interest. There is no one that lives in that county that doesn't want good road, infrastructure, health, education, improvement, and public safety and awareness. So once we know what we are going to do, before we get to the court, we should have make sure we argue it out before we come into open, and there shouldn't have been any lie. So competency is the right thing to say in this office.
Okay.
Without that.
All right. I believe Nabil had his hand up next. Go ahead.
So I've had to deal with Commissioner's Court as the elected Precinct 3 and the Precinct 4 constable. I've had to fight for things for public safety and to get grants and to get positions. And let me tell you, you have to have those relationships. And our campaign, again, has been about putting people over politics. And we have to have these conversations with our county commissioners, and for everybody to understand that I only represent about 50% Democrat, 50% Republican. So we all have to be able to come together that way and put the people first.
Next is Harun.
I think that's a really good question. Like, disagreements are the part of the debates, and we need to make sure that should be good for the community. And eventually, this is our constituents. We need to make sure that who we are representing. We're gonna make sure that everything what we discuss and talk is just to benefit our constituents, our residents over there. So I would definitely want to make sure that after we got elected, we are working as just a commissioner, not for the Democratic Party or Republican. We're working for everyone. Thank you.
All right. And I believe, Ramesh, you had your hand up, and then Maggie, you're next.
Sure.
Thank you.
Just to give an idea to the audience here, though we will be representing Precinct 4 or somebody representing Precinct 3, so the commissioner for that precinct is responsible for that development infrastructure for that precinct. But end of the day, we all have to work together as a board. Okay, so I would love to work together with them, everybody, as I had been doing with several organizations in the past in my civic services. But only one thing I would not do, I would not go to court or fight.
Maggie?
I think disagreements are going to happen. That's inevitable. But we need to ask ourselves in reality, the person who you're going to put in commissioner's court, are they looking out for you or are they looking out for themselves, that specific commissioner? Because sometimes where they're making decisions back behind closed doors and they're thinking about themselves rather than the constituents. And that's what we need to be asking ourselves today. Who are they looking out for? Are they looking out for me? Am I being part of that decision making, or are they looking out for themselves?
Any other follow-ons? Okay, this next question is for Maggie. Your question is, what is your plan to address drainage issues in older communities?
That's a very good question. Drainage issues. So I live on the north side of Fort Bend, and I have personally have been affected from flooding. In 2017, my home flooded, more than half of it. Okay. I was displaced out of my home for more than 6 months, living in a hotel room with my 2 daughters and my pets. Talk about, living in close proximities to each other. Why does that happen? And has it been fixed? No, it has not been fixed. And this is one of the reasons why I'm standing here today, because I want to dig deeper. What is happening behind closed doors? I'm tired of people not being transparent about what's happening closed doors. Why hasn't my neighborhood, it's continuously sinking and nothing has been done. They say obviously it's because of development or it takes decision. Totally understand that. But as a CPA, we need to be very transparent where our decision making is at. If it's taking us 6 months, if it's going to take us 3 years to fix the situation, I think the constituents need to know. So
All right.
as a commissioner,
30
I will make sure that I will make you aware, transparent on that area.
Any other follow-ons? No other follow-ons? Okay, Ramesh, this next question is for you.
Give me an easy question.
Okay. Okay, if you be a little quieter in the audience, thank you. How will you ensure your office remains accessible across such a large precinct?
That's a great question for me, for sure. See, I go to office every day, though I don't need to go. And after getting elected to this position, I'm making this promise to everyone. I will go to work every day and I will be available 24 hours. If my cell phone is the same for the last 28 years, and my community knows that they can reach out to me anytime they want to reach out to me. So I will be 100% accessible to everyone. And also I will go into the communities, organize town halls to understand what their problems are. And then I will be accessible. That's an easy question for me. Thank you.
All right, we'll go with Robert and then Harun.
Yeah, so I spent 2 years as the director. Sorry, you can hear me.
We need it for the face, sorry, we need it for the face.
Oh yeah, for the national.
The national audience.
Stop me
right.
over. Stop me over. So I spent the last 2 years as the director of community relations for Harris County. That is a area that is bigger than most states, and so I spent many evenings going to multiple events across Harris County, making sure people were engaged with. But I think one thing that I really want to be able to put in this position is a system that allows anybody across the precinct to be able to report any issue they have. Dogs, floods, any issues, you can report into the system, track it real time, have a name assigned to it, and know where your issue is, how it's being solved. If it hasn't been solved, you can talk to me and we can fix it.
All right, Arun?
I think the office for the commissioner should be accessible to all the constituents, and there should be more town halls meetings, and my doors for my office should be accessible to each and every constituent, and there should be online portal where we should get those requests and which can be resolved within a timely manner, because I've heard from some of my friends that they tried to connect to that office, but they didn't get a response for a long time. So I think we should have a policy that everyone should get their response back within a certain time frame. Thank you.
Ayobami, would you like to do follow-on?
Accessibility should be open access, unfettered access to the commissioner's office, which include telephone 24/7. I'm going to make sure there is a line that is dedicated for that 24/7 for the resident to leave message even out of office time. And for office period, like I said, I will lead a public charge of efficiency from day one, whereas all the staff will be able to access, they will have access to them, access to me, and attend to the constituent issue within 24 to 48 hours. Thank you.
Brittany, did you? No, okay. All right, we have, we're fortunate enough to have another elected official announcement. So a call out to Marquette Green Scott. And a candidate, Shah Halim. All right, now this next one is for Robert. What role should the county play in improving public health outcomes?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get it right soon.
The national audience appreciates it.
Yeah. I think the county can play a pretty manifest role if done correctly. Currently, every health transaction is we take a percentage off, or the county is responsible for a certain amount. There's discussion about a hospital district and healthcare district and how we would reappropriate those funds. Some discussion around a facility. I strongly would disagree with that. I think we can look at the hospital district that happens in Harris County as an example. But I think we can invest in work. I led community partnerships at Memorial Hermann, working on a thing called population health. There are things we can do, making healthy food more accessible, making activity more accessible. Those are the things that drive long-term health for people. That social connectedness allow you to have, there's a study that's shown if someone reaches an emergency, they don't have someone that can help them get $500 and then they just kind of fall by the wayside. That is from a lack of social connectivity. I think we saw a lot of people experiencing loneliness, especially from the pandemic, about their lack of connectedness. Those are things the county can help. We are able to allocate those dollars to support people in those roles. And that's what I think we should be able to do. And partnerships.
Any follow-ons?
Follow myself? No.
All right, this is for you, Nabil. How will you enhance public safety coverage in fast-growing areas?
A perfect question for a public safety guy. How random was that? Well, I think we've proven some of the things that we can do when I was elected as the Precinct 3 and the Precinct 4 constable. One of the things that I'm proud to say that we have done was make the city of Sugar Land the safest city, or one of the safest cities in America. We didn't just do that 1 year. We didn't just do that 2 years. We did that for 3 of the 4 years that I was in office, right? And take a look now. Is the city of Sugar Land considered one of the safest cities in America anymore? It isn't, right? So having that understanding that your constables play a major role into providing public safety. One of the things that we don't have in Fort Bend County, the constables do not have a 24-hour dispatch center, right? So let's say in Harris County, somebody stops somebody that has a warrant out of one of the Fort Bend County constables, and it's after 5 p.m., that Harris County officer cannot confirm on those warrants. And that's one of the things that we need to do is build a dispatch center that will help with public safety.
Any follow-ons? Ramesh?
So I'm going back into the numbers here again. So out of our budget, 42% of our budget is allocated to the public safety. The problem here is how they are being managed. We need to have transparency and accountability. What I heard is they get the budget. Let's say they want to hire 2 people, additional people. They get the money, but they don't hire. They keep that money like that. So we want to make sure when the money is allocated for certain purpose, we want to make sure it's taken care and used for that purpose.
30 seconds. Thank you. Yes, Harun?
Being working as a community liaison for sheriff for almost 4 years now, I think we need to more focus on community policing and more community involvement, because one way around, like prevention is better than like response. So for me, we need to prevent. So at the same time, like we need to create certain things that to give like a lot of. I mean, we need to for sure the support the county for public safety, but at the same time, we need to work in like a prevention of all these things so it can stop certain things.
30 seconds. Ayubami, this is your last one, just so you know. It's great to be active and engaged, but just want to make sure that you know this is your last follow-on.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, well, public safety should be the highest priority for any commissioner. Like I said, there should be an arrangement with the county sheriff where we supplement our security with a kind of artificial intelligence powered drones that will go all around the perimeter of the entire county. I will also create an opportunity for an incentivized welfare for our law enforcement officers who are doing excellent job so that can have a morale booster for them. So the public safety
30
thing
seconds.
should be, okay, thank you. I'll have.
Maggie?
Yes. So once again, I actually have felt what it is to not have public safety. I had a home invasion when having my second child, broad daylight. And you know how long it took for the sheriff to come out? It took him about almost 30 minutes. Why? Because probably their office is all the way out in Kendleton. When I sat down and spoke with Patrick Quincy, one of the things he mentioned is we need to work together as HOAs and the constable's office to work in conjunction. But there is a deficit currently right now in budget. I know we talk about, cutting budget, but safety should be a very big priority.
Yes, Brittany.
As it relates to public safety, there's many facets of public safety, and I think one that isn't often talked about is mental health. So we do send our officers out there to situations that may be unsafe for them, and that person may be better suited for mental health rehabilitation or mental health places. Also, smart lightings. There's still places in Precinct 4 that does not have good lighting. That is also a part of public safety. So making sure people get the mental health care that they need, and we have lights, and our streets are marked well for the crosswalks and everything else for our children are also a part of public safety that we need to address.
Any other follow-ons? All right, and thank you all. I know I'm calling out on the time, but we want to try to make sure that we get as many questions out, many answers out, and make sure everyone's able to be engaged with us today. So thank you for your understanding. All right, the next one is for Haroon. Yours is, what difficult decisions do you anticipate and how will you approach them as the precinct commissioner?
While being in the Ferdinand County office, I see a lot of difficulties going on. So I'm expecting there are a lot of things we need to work together on that things. There are a number of things, especially we're talking about the redistricting, which is a major issue at this moment, which I believe we need to work in a way that we have to work in a team manner. And other things like there are the certain future improvement plans. Like I've been thinking like how we can manage. Like earlier it was 780 million budget, so now we have a lot of new residents and new constituents. We have just been increasing from 1 million to even almost touching that. We need to invest in public safety and all other things, and we need more funding. We need to make sure how we can reduce the tax, like property taxes and all that. So eventually, I believe that we're going to have a lot of challenges, which we need to work with all of our commissioner courts together.
Thank you. And that was only the first ring. The second ring on the initial answers is the one. All right. Any follow-ons for that? Yes, Ramesh.
There are a couple of specific problems I anticipate as soon as I go in. The first one is in the last year bond, they have allocated money to expand the road on Addicts Road, 2-lane road, but 3-lane road. They are not doing that. They have went back on doing it. So they're just keeping it as is, which is not safe for the community. That's one of them. Second one is reviewing the epicenter contract.
Any other follow-ons? None? Okay. We have two more elected officials. We have Rob Bocher. Sorry if I didn't say it correctly. Bocher, sorry. My apologies. And Monica Rollins. Thank y'all for joining us. Love to have the elected officials and candidates here. All right, and the next question is for you, Ayobami. What lessons from Hurricane Harvey will shape your flood mitigation priorities?
Oh, wow. That's a wonderful question because I remember everybody was impacted with Hurricane Harvey. And I believe there was a time when we have a forum with the governor and they was talking about expanding the levee and all other things so that we can have another set of 500-year sustained levee that can sustain heavy flooding. Now, the thing that happened when the hurricane affected me too, because I was among the last set of people in my family to be evacuated because it was about 6 inches before it overflowed. Now, this is part of the construction problem because they should have emphasized 1,000-year flood. Every 10 years, flood mitigation should be on the table for the commission of the county to look into. And all the engineers and all the flood control department should be putting their heads together before we have another disaster. Hurricane doesn't come like that immediately. You have to have a projection. Some of them, it happens every 3 years, every 5 years, just like we have Beryl, Hurricane Beryl, even last 2 years. Nobody envisaged it was going to bring so much damage in wind. So the flood mitigation that we're going to employ should be a future thing that we should plan, not before it happened, but you should have it in such a way that every 10 years, they should look at how we control the flood and how we control the discharge of flood to go into the Brazos rivers and all the other places so that we will avoid any kind of disaster. Thank you.
Follow-ons, yes. Maggie first, then Robert. Ramesh next.
We need to be asking ourselves our questions. We live by the Brazos Bend River, and there is erosion happening. Why do we continue to build around that river right now? As a person who's been affected by flood, that is a question that we need to be asking. We're not protecting those constituents who are currently have their homes right there. What are we doing to protect them? Not only them, it'll continue to uprise that erosion into the creeks, into our bayous as well. So those are things that we need to consider for flood mitigation.
Okay, Robert, then Ramesh.
One of the things I'd be focused on, a lesson learned from Beryl more recently, when I was leading recovery at Harris County, there were so many people who were left behind in recovery because they weren't connected. They didn't know who to talk to. They were left navigating the system as their house was destroyed. But I brought together a group of people recruiting 5,000 volunteers, helping to recruit companies, HEV, JP Morgan, Citgo, and nonprofit and religious organizations across the Harris County. And I'd want to do that same thing here because despite who you are, we should be able to recover. You should be able to thrive. And we know hurricanes will occur, but we can be prepared.
Ramesh.
There is a flash news for you guys. After the Harvey, they have done a lot of studies. The studies have shown up there are 17 highly erodible areas that can create flooding again. Guess what? What Fort Bend County Commissioner's Court has done? Nothing so far. If some same kind of a flood comes, none of your houses are safe. None of your houses are safe. This is one of my major priorities. We are going to fix it.
Nabil.
So we have a saying in law enforcement, proper planning and preparation prevents poor performance. One of the things that I was a deputy out in Harris County when we got hit, in North Harris County when we got hit by Harvey. I understand the people that we had to go out and physically go out there and rescue. Why? It's because we were prepared to be able to go out there and rescue them. Out here in Fort Bend County, they're not prepared. We do not have as many emergency vehicles to be able to go out in the event to go and rescue individuals. We don't have boats. We don't have none of that stuff. So proper planning and preparation prevents poor performance.
Any other follow-ons? All right. Another announcement, call out for Sierra Evans. Thank you for joining us. We're announcing all the elected officials and candidates. So we're back to you, Brittany. I know it's been a while, but thank you for your patience on that. We like to get the audience participation, so hopefully it's a good question for you. What steps will you take to accelerate delayed mobility projects?
All right, wonderful question. I'm not mad. So there are a lot of mobility projects that have already been initiated and put in place under the current commissioner. So what I would like to do is build upon those. Of course, the current commissioner is running for county judge, but that does not stop what we have going. So we need to make sure some of the bonds that he had approved are fully funded. We need to make sure that we're sending out bids for the rest of those mobility projects. I personally have championed filling those bids from people in our own backyard. So if we have qualified companies and small businesses, we need to make sure our bidding and requisition process is more transparent and accessible to make sure that they can put in their bid. So again, if we can fill it from our own backyard, we don't necessarily need to go to these large companies. And that can also speed up the process. So having a quicker, more transparent requisition process that would help, and also auditing where we are and how far we need to go and making sure those bonds are fully funded.
Any follow-ons for that?
Said, I thought you said I don't have any more.
I'm gonna take one of mine.
Oh, yeah, you got trust of. Yeah.
Say you had a follow-on?
You shot me down. You want me to?
Any more going once, going twice? Okay. All right. So the next question is for you, April. Your question is, how will you ensure access to mental health resources?
That's a great question. First of all, we need to make sure there's a budget to allocate funds for mental health care. Also, talking to residents within the community and trying to bring those residents together to bring solutions as well. But a lot of this is going to rely on the budget and allocating that budget to different resources for mental health care. So,
All right. Any other follow-ons to that question? Sure. Give me 1 second. How will you ensure access to mental health resources? That was the question. If you want to follow on, just let me know. No? Okay. It's exciting. It's exciting. No, the anticipation builds.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, Maggie, you're up next. Your question is, what sustainability initiatives would you support?
As far as the commissioner, overall,
As far as being a commissioner at Precinct 4, that's correct.
I think one of the initiatives that we need to, I want to support is community involvement, bringing initiatives with our youth development. The youth is the people who are going to be serving us the day of tomorrow. We need to make sure we're focusing on them. We need to make sure that we're developing programs for our women who are single. Affordability is a very big thing for me as well. As we come to Fort Bend, when I came to Fort Bend, I came out here because I wanted to raise my 2 daughters and wanted to make it into this big community where it's going to be loving and they're going to be thriving in their career at Fort Bend. We want to make sure that that continues on specifically in our county.
Any follow-ons? Okay. Ramesh, your question is, what improvements are needed in emergency preparedness based on past storms?
As I was talking about earlier, there are 17 highly erodible positions were identified along the Brazos River. That had to be fixed first. So 2 weeks ago, state government has given $17.5 million to take care of that. So as soon as I go into the commissioner court, I'm going to identify the money because we don't have any money. We want to make sure where the money is allocated. We need to find the money to get these erodible areas fixed to make sure the constituents will not face the same kind of a disaster like Harvey.
Any follow-ons to that? All right, Robert, your question is, how will you address traffic bottlenecks resulting from rapid development?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are problems that existing where we have places where they weren't planned out properly, and so people are having to contend with the expansion, like on Main or and some of the other growth in the other areas. I think a decent bit of it is proper planning in the future to make sure that whatever we are doing, we are accounting for the fact that we're growing as a county. We're about to reach 1 million people, we'll reach 2 million people. But I think one specific thing that the county commissioners have the ability to do as they're approving development, we should be able to partner with one, the developers, two, the other businesses to have a clear sense of where things are going so that we have roads and resources in place that allow us so we're not having to kind of go back after the fact. As it stands currently, you can look in Missouri City, especially on Texas Parkway, where they're dealing with a two-road highway. There's nothing you can really do about that, whether you're maybe knocking out houses or schools. And so you're kind of stuck in some of those issues. But proper planning in the future, I think, puts us in a better position so we're not dealing with the headaches.
You have another 30 seconds. That's just the thing.
That's all I need. I'm going to keep talking.
Okay.
That's fine. And I'd say maybe communication is also a bigger piece of all that. I think a problem I see as I'm driving home often is there's so many people who are all coming home at the same time. And so, you can't really impact rush hour. But what you can impact is helping people understand where those bottlenecks exist. We all have ways, we all have different resources like that. But I think there are things that pop up, accidents, and that could be better communicated where maybe emergency vehicles and other things like that can be rerouted to places.
Any follow-ons? All right, Nabil, this is for you. How will you ensure emergency alerts reach immigrant and multilingual communities?
Well, that's a great question. So one of the things that we look forward to push forward is developing a precinct 4 wide application. And through that application, it would go out to all of our precinct 4 residents. And anytime that there's, let's say, a carbon monoxide leak inside a particular neighborhood, right? Those individuals in that neighborhood through geofencing will get a notification that there's a carbon monoxide leak in that particular neighborhood. So just one is using that app, right? Two, something that I've been doing throughout this entire campaign is I've been doing things known as dinners and dialogues. Just completed my 4th one. My first one was with our district attorney, Brian Middleton. The second one was with our county attorney. The third one was with all of our district court judges. And just one I had this past Friday was with Congressman Al Green and our state representative, Ron Reynolds. That's one of the things I look forward to continuing to do as your next precinct 4 commissioner, bringing in dinners, dialogues to our communities, bringing our elected officials to the
30
communities.
seconds.
Correct. 30 seconds left, right?
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure you knew. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Do I get another 10 for that?
Sure, you do. I'll give you 15.
No, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, just making sure that, in every facet that we can, that we're communicating and being transparent with our community members and not scared to share our contact information. My number is everywhere. I'll give it to you guys and here nationally. I know this is being broadcasted everywhere, but my cell phone number is 832-755-0922. How more transparent can you be?
Our nationwide audience appreciates that. Yes, Arun.
By adding like what Nabil said, we need to work on the same app systems, the same way we are working currently in the jury system. We are still having like a kind of difficulties with the funding issue with the commissioner because we are diverse county, and the same way we want to develop those apps where we can send a message, especially adding on like AI-based systems where we can always translate. If you get a message in different language, we can always change or according to our required apps and all that. So apps is the main system, but AI-based systems and like a chat board and all that, we are still working in the county for those
That's
services.
30 seconds. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
good.
you very much. Any other follow-ons? And Haroon, I see that also that was your last follow-on as well. So you'll want to make sure he's the scorekeeper has got all those for you in case you have a question. All right, now to you, Ayobami. I'm sorry, Haroon. Sorry, that's right. Sorry, Haroon. I got myself thrown off there. So Haroon, yours is how will you balance the needs of suburban communities with rural areas west of Fulshire?
As far as like we're talking about precinct 4, with the new redistricting and all that, if you see, we did not have a lot of undeveloped areas and all that. So we definitely need to make kind of the smart growth plan where we need to have like in the future development to see how we can see that where how we can take care of that in the future growth, and it depends on our available resources, and that's what I personally feel like in the new precinct 4 we are not in the same like we had in the past. So there are a lot more things we need to discuss about those areas, what we have, and we need to work according to what we have available at this moment within the resources.
Any other follow-ons? Okay. Ayobami, your question is, how will you ensure flood-related communication reaches multilingual communities?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, there is a line that the Forbin County have first established, which everybody can connect with. I think it's a 888-777. If anybody text it, you're going to get your information stored, and then the information can come across to you. I think I was talking to the current county judge, KP judge, about it, that it should be multilingual so that other people that have not understand English, either the Spanish or any other community of different language, should be able to link to it and understand the message. When it's about to evacuate, they know. When it's about to move to prevent something, they should. So what, as a foreign, as somebody from Africa, I know English is our major lingua franca, but any other community like the Hispanic community, the Asian community that need to have an interpreter, there will be a dedicated 24/7 line for that, where they will be able to transmit the information to them in a timely fashion. This is very important. Even the people that have animal welfare, so something that they need to do, that they will understand why they have to do it and not be in a push out. So this is one of those things that I will emphasize that it happened on day one, that will create a dedicated line for multilingual translation of information to the county residents. Thank you.
Any follow-ons to that? All right, we're starting back with you, Brittany, and this is going to be a question for everyone, and it's a long one. I'm happy to repeat it if y'all need it because it is long. The proposed power plant last year highlighted the tension between meeting regional energy demand and safeguarding public health. What policy framework do you believe the county should use to evaluate future energy projects, and how should public health risk, environmental impact, and community input be weighed in that decision-making process? And if you need me to read it again, this is for you, Brittany. That's not a problem.
This is a lot.
And everyone gets a minute and a half. So
Okay, so I think we have to triage, much like those in the healthcare facility, we have to triage the competing needs, but most importantly are our citizens in Precinct 4 in Fort Bend County. So public safety and welfare, we have to put that precedent among everything else. Obviously, we need to look at our energy sector and how we can bring energy, maybe clean energy, maybe look at alternative sources of energy. If you notice, EV stations are popping up everywhere. So a lot more people feel the need to go green. So that's something we need to consider, having our town halls and our public forums to see the needs of the people and what concessions, if any, they're willing to make. We're only here to be their voice, to represent what they want in commissioner's court. So it's never what we think is the best, it's what the constituents want. So we need to make sure that we hear their voice, we put their voice first, and we're making sure that their safe and health, their public safety, their health and safety of their children and their family are precedent and paramount.
Oh, you still have 30 seconds, just to let you know, just to be fair. Okay. Okay. You bet. You bet. It's a long one, but a lot of parts to it. The proposed power plant last year highlighted the tension between meeting regional energy demand and safeguarding public health. What policy framework do you believe the county should use to evaluate future energy projects, and how should public health, risk, environmental impact, and community input be weighed in that decision-making process?
So first of all, I think the community needs to be involved in any projects where they're bringing some type of harmful development to the community. So I think I would have meetings with the residents in Precinct 4. I would also talk to the developers as well to understand what their plans are for Precinct 4. If they plan on building some type of plant, I would want to know that up front so that I could communicate that to the residents in Precinct 4 and have them to have input into that and have meetings, have a town hall so that they are aware of what's coming to their community. So I think communication is key to, and talking to the developers is also key, and ensuring that we understand what they're bringing to our community, because safety is definitely priority for Precinct 4 and everyone else within the community. So that would be my solution: communication, meeting with the developers, and meeting with the residents within Precinct 4. Thank you.
Okay, Maggie, please.
All right. Well, that question specifically, I feel like it's a big question. It's an emergency all the way around. As you know, my contenders here have mentioned, we need to make sure that we're facilitating and being very transparent. What specifically are in our priorities? As our constituents, we need to also be asking them, hey, what are your priorities? What energy or other alternatives can we bring into our county to make sure we don't have this power grid tension? Now, when we bring alternatives, we need to be asking ourselves, how is it going to be harmful to our environment or to our public health? We need to make sure that we're holding them accountable as well in that area if we do bring them into our county as well.
Okay, Ramesh.
Thank you. So it's inevitable. The county is growing big. So we have to grow it responsibly. Saying that, being a chemist, I used to do identify the toxic chemicals in water, air, polluted air, and soil. So I know exactly what the pollutants are. So I want to make sure whatever we bring, whether it's electrical thing or some other factory, some other manufacturing factory, whatever we do, we want to make sure it doesn't pollute our air, it doesn't pollute our water, it doesn't pollute our soil. If the soil is polluted, that goes to the water, underground water. So we want to make sure pollutants doesn't go into our bodies through water or air. That is the most important thing. And the second thing is, just like what happened last time in Sugarland, the public have spoken. They have already spoken. They understood the problem. Hey, this is not good for health. This is not good for my family or anything else. So they had to go back and cancel that. Same thing. If I want to do anything, it goes to the public. We will have town hall meetings. We will communicate to the public. So we hear from them. We are, after all, their servants to do what they ask us to do. Thank you.
Robert.
So your question was about the framework I would use to approach these issues, correct?
The question is the policy framework that addresses it in public health risk, environmental impact, community input being weighed in the decision-making process.
Yeah, so I mean, community input would be paramount to me, and then impact to public health would be right up there, if I could say 1A. I think there are a lot of decisions we'll have to make as the county continues to grow, as more people keep coming into our areas. We hope to get more industry to make a more diverse tax base. But I think we can't sacrifice our way of life and our community. I think with the issue with the power plant, as I understand it, people were not well informed. It kind of came in later in the game, and then people were able to spring up and advocate against it. So making sure we have advocates on court who can be transparent with the community, proactively sharing and engaging our community to make sure we're part of those decisions. But also, and I've said it before, planning. We will have power needs, but there's no reason we can't have it. We have 60% of the county, it's still undeveloped. Some people say 70. Put it out in places where we don't have housing, so it's not going to have health impacts. I think we will have to make decisions. There are also alternative sources for energy. I think we might have a need for desalinization plants. So there might be some pairing as we go, mixing with alternative, maybe there's some clean nuclear solutions I've read about. So it's not so much it's a non-starter, it's just being smart about our planning.
Nabil.
So I'm going to repeat this again. Proper planning and preparation prevents poor performance. Right before we leave here tonight, I want everybody to remember that. All right. You got to get involved with the community. You see, before you get to the developers, before you get to all these big businesses that have personal interests at gains and profits in mind, what do the people think? Right. And that's what happened with the power plant in Sugar Land. I believe that city council jumped the gun and they went after these developers that wanted to bring that power plant into the city of Sugar Land in a highly densely populated area without properly planning on the health impacts that it was going to create. And so one of the things I think we do need are more zoning permitting requirements that we're making sure, just like my colleague over here stated, that we're not developing around housing, right? A lot of people don't know that we have oil rigs in Fort Bend County, right? They're not out here in the city of Sugar Land or right out here in Richmond or anything like that. No, they're in very rural areas of Fort Bend County. So if we're going to decide to invest into sustainable energy, why not put it into areas where there's no population? So that's what I would do. Thank you.
As far as like we're talking about to bring the new energy resources, I think the same time we need to make sure that our residents and everyone needs to be aware, and they needs to know what we're just bringing in advance. So we just made certain kind of confusions over there by bringing those projects without like the community involvement, which I personally feel we need to educate them. And if there is any pros and cons in bringing those kind of things, everyone needs to be transparent and they need to be more educated, before going for any kind of projects within that highly population areas like Sugar Land where we had it. There were still the resident has a lot of concerns. And I also had kind of concern once we were just following all these kind of procedure that they followed at that point, and the transparency and the discussions was needed to be done prior to bringing those kind of projects, which I personally feel that we still need reliable like sources like energy to utilize it in the future, but at the same time. All the community should be involved in prior to bringing those kind of projects which can affect like environment and which can raise any questions to any constituent.
Ayobami.
As the only candidate here with the environmental engineering profession, one of the things that we need to think of is that compliance and oversight must be brought back to table. all these energy companies, they know there are some things that they need to put out there in the public figure. And also the healthcare department, the most senior people in charge of pollution, whatever thing that will come from energy that will cause something like carcinogen, we have to take care of it from the word go. And as a commissioner, I'll make sure all energy companies have a raining day fund for emergency health situation that is caused by their own development. As an environmental engineer, there's a lot of way to bring energy to the city that will not be harmful. Some of them, like geothermal, like liquefied natural gas, like solar, like waste recycling, energy capturing, and LPG. So these are ways that you can supply energies that will not have harmful effect. But if you don't have oversight function, you don't put all your engineering the techniques together, these developers will run away with it. So on day one, I will make sure we have a commission or community coalition that will look into energy companies that are bringing businesses over here that will have harmful effect on our health. And we have oversight function over it so that this will not have a health issue. Because you cannot spend your money as well as to buy something that will affect your health. So this is what I will do first to use my thinking cap as an environmental engineer to correct the anomalies in energy sector. Thank you.
All right, the budget is a very important topic, obviously, especially in county politics and in the county commissioner's court. So we have a question from the audience that I'm going to read to you, and this is according to the audience member. We're not saying, we're not suggesting that anything is correct or not in terms of numbers that are used, but I think underlying that is the important question about the budget. So the question, according to the audience member, is Fort Bend County has added $1.1 billion in new debt over the past 5 years. What projects and programs are you willing to cut to mitigate unchecked spending growth? What projects and programs are you willing to cut to mitigate unchecked spending growth? This will be a lightning round of 1 minute answers. So there won't be a warning timer. As soon as you hear the bell, that is the end of the minute. So Brittany, you'll start us off. Thank you.
All right, that's a great question. Budget is definitely important, but I think the reality of that, to make an informed response to that, we would have to do an audit of the finances. We need to see dollar for dollar where is the money going and how we can move it around to make it more effective for the citizens. And only once we do that, we can figure out what needs to be cut and what needs to remain. So without seeing where all the money has been allocated and how the programs are doing, and are we getting the best return on our investment, I can't say what we need to cut at this particular point.
April, please.
So my platform has been about the budget because we don't know what the budget is and where it's being allocated. So as my colleague stated, I would go in and audit the budget first. You don't know what you don't know. So I would audit the budget and find out where the money is presently being allocated. So I would not make any cuts until I do an assessment, an overall assessment as to what is the budget now, where has the money been spent, and then kind of go from there. So I think that would be my answer. I wouldn't do anything until an audit is done. Thank you.
Maggie.
As a public CPA accountant, one of the things that we do when we're CPAs, we relook every year or every fiscal year and strategize, because what happened last year may not be the same thing that's going to happen for this upcoming year. So we need to relook again and strategize where specifically we need to allocate funds. Cutting programs, I don't know if that is the right answer for our specific county when it's a county that's continuing to grow. So we need to strategize once again to make sure where is those funds going to go to and what programs can we from here to here. We all have to come in agreement at the end of the day, all the departments together in Commissioner's Court.
I'm going to do three things. One, I want to make sure we are spending money on the needs than wants. I'm going to review the budget, see where we are spending our money on the wants. I'm going to cut that because we are spending more money than what we are receiving, what we are getting. Number two, I'm going to refinance. In a couple of years, I'm sure the interest rates are going to go down. What we had, we're going to refinance, lower our debt service payments. We are paying almost 17%. That's $180 million almost towards the debt service. I'm going to reduce that. Number three, I'm going to review the contracts that are already in the books. For example, Epicenter. Epicenter was built by our money. Stonehenge property developer came here. We gave the money to build. We told them to manage. If they manage it and do not manage properly and they have a loss, we are here to fill that loss, fill that gap. That need to be rechecked. Make sure it is, we are not spending money there.
Robert.
Yeah, I don't want to. I think it'd be quick to say, oh, I'll cut all these things, and I think that'd kind of be irresponsible. So I'd want to look at the budget and have a conversation with the community to have a clear understanding about priorities, and especially not just making a good moment on the table. But I think more importantly is an opportunity for partnerships. There's so many people that are duplicative services. I think the county can collaborate more with cities. The county can collaborate more with organizations. That would lessen the obligation for us to handle certain things. Also, I think there are public-private partnerships that we could enter into. In the short term, we have things that we're obligated to, like the epicenter. But I think going forward, how are we making sure we're making proper investments that allow us to free up services and recruiting people or corporations that allow us to have more revenue to make future investments to put us in a better position to thrive.
Nabil.
So I had to manage a budget as the Fort Bend County Precinct 3 and the Precinct 4 Constable. I managed it fiscally responsibly. And one of the things that I realized was when I was appointed to the Transportation Committee, after coming back from a police executive conference, in a way that I found that we can save our taxpayers about $15,000 per patrol car. When I brought it to that Transportation Committee, I was removed off that Transportation Committee. So it's not about just finding and cutting services and that. We have to genuinely have a true audit of all our departments, all of the elected officials, all of our departments to end that bureaucracy that is going on. Second, we need to look to refinance some of our bonds, kind of like what my colleague over here to the right was stating. Interest rates are going to go down. So we're going to have a unique opportunity to refinance some of those bonds. Third, we also have a lot of money that's going to the that areas that are ETJ that go to the city of Houston. We need to bring that money back into Fort Bend County so we can provide that to our services to our community.
Arun.
My goal is not to cut essential services, but actually to cut the waste. And especially by auditing, I think we can find out by review the old projects, what we have, and by making sure the audit can be accessible to all the constituents. And we need to make sure instead of cutting the essential services, we need to cut our waste where we are having those issues. And again, it can only be done with the proper auditing and proper future planning according to that. Thanks.
Ayobami.
The recurrent expenditures and the capital projects, those are the two areas where you have to look into. First of all, you have to look at the recurrent expenditure and make sure that those expenses are spent where it's supposed to be spent. Where there are waste, you need to make sure you cut the waste. Now, the capital project is a major problem because most of the projects are overinflated, and which we have found out that some of them eventually rigmarole itself back to the pocket of the political office holders. Now, as an engineer, I will make sure all our capital projects have third-party verification, because we're not going to approve a project that is overinflated when we can have it. We first of all insource it and resource it. And if you cannot get it done inside within the Fort Bend County or the state of Texas, that is how when we will talk about outsourcing it. Anything that will overinflate the budget such a way that it will have effect upon the taxpayers, I'm going to stand against it, and I'm going to look into it as an engineer and put my thinking cap to cut the budget there. Other ones, I will let it go as long as it's efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just so everyone knows, the Facebook Live will, I believe Disha will be posting any questions that have not been asked by audience members here tonight. So they will post it. So if you want to go to that, their Facebook page, you're welcome to take a look and answer any of the questions so that the community can be able to see what your responses are. When do you think that'll take place? This evening. So very, very promptly. So at this time, I've been asked to go ahead and we'll go to the closing remarks for all of you. And then we'll wrap up with some other remarks and hear from Disha as well. So Ayobami, we're going to go in reverse order. So if you could start us off. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Disha, for inviting me. Here we are. The hour has come. From tomorrow, you're going to start the early voting. I am the only candidate that I promised, and I'm standing on the promises of the one to bring effective government policies, sustainable transformation, accountability, and reliability. I am a civil structural and environmental engineer, and I'm a pastor too because I relate with people a lot. And I'm also a community advocate. I am a Republican, and I know that what everybody is looking for is exactly what I want. I've lived in this county for 19 years, and I've seen it through thick and thin. And therefore, I'm asking all of you that are here and those that are watching live on Facebook to talk to every individual that there is a candidate, the righteous one, that will do everything, not as a politician, because we got to be careful of political cosmetic candidates. They come in different colors, different shades, different language. But let me tell you something. You need somebody that will go out, the go-getter, and do it right on the first day. And this is Abolaji Ayobami. Check me out at aayobami.com, and I will deliver for you. Thank you.
My name is Harun Mughal, and I'm a firm believer that as a person who is serving as a county commissioner should be accessible and should be fair, transparent, and they need to just understand that this is not about the politics. This is about the public service. This is about you to just serve in a different capacity. And I working within the Foreman County for almost 16 years. I personally feel I know I have been with all the constituent, all the family, all the communities for over like 16 years now. And I feel like we all need to get involved to get more transparent and bringing any issues and all that. So since I'm running for that position now, I feel like this race is not about the politics. It's about the grassroots level where you know where the problems at. I have been there. I heard. I have been a part of those problems, and I've been working in the county and know how we can work together to bring like a results to change where we need it and where we can be more productive. Thanks.
All right, now I end in the name of God, the most beneficial, the most merciful. You know, folks, early voting starts tomorrow. I am the only candidate that is here that is prepared on day one, not just based off of my education, not just based off of my experiences, not just based off the general knowledge that I know growing up in Precinct 4, but it's the relationships that I have with some of the other elected members of the Commissioners Court, with some of our other elected officials, such as the district attorney. So when they come to Commissioners Court, I'm already prepared. I understand the needs that we are already facing right now, right? I have the education, I have the experience, and I'm ready to go on day one to serve as your next Fort Bend County Precinct 4 Commissioner. Again, my name is Nabil Shaikh, and it's going to be an honor to serve you as your next commissioner. Thank you.
I mastered how to turn on the mic. So, well, thank you all for having me tonight. Thank you for hosting this, Disha. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak. Obviously, like we said, we have a big day ahead of us tomorrow. Like many of the candidates, maybe haven't been sleeping very much. But we have a lot of big decisions ahead of us as a county moving forward. As we're growing, these changes are threatening to tear us apart. So many of us are going into our own silos instead of staying together as a community, looking at one another as threats instead of seeing each other as our neighbors. I believe, obviously, I want to lower the cost of property taxes. I want to lower health insurance costs. I want to make it so we have more affordable water, and I want to make sure our schools are safe. But that doesn't happen if we don't work together as a community. I am the only candidate who's managed the $3 billion budget, who has led millions of people through a disaster, multiple natural disasters. And I'll be ready on day one. I think what's going on in our county, what's happening nationally, is too important to leave it to someone who's just learning.
Again, thank you, Ashuji Disha, for organizing this one. My name is Ramesh Charivirala. Again, I'm running on a Republican ballot. And also, it doesn't matter whether you are a Republican, Democrat, or an independent. If it rains, you want to make sure it drains properly. And you want to have safe roads to drive. If it floods, you want to make sure your house does not flood. And if someone breaks into your home, you want to make sure the cops come on time, not wait for 30 minutes later. So that's what we do. We manage the budget, make sure appropriate the budget using the priorities of the community needs rather than wants. I am a fiduciary. I have been a fiduciary for the last 25 years, managing my clients' money. You will be my clients when I get elected. I'm going to manage your money prudently to make sure give you the services that you paid for lower. Thank you very much. Please take the Republican ballot to vote for me tomorrow.
Today, you've heard about priorities, you've heard about policies, and all what my contenders here are going to do and what I'm going to do. At the end of the day, leadership is about character and earning your trust. The person who is going to be in commissioners' courts needs to be able to do the work and not to be afraid to stand up and advocate for you. I'm Maggie Solomon. I'm running on the Democratic side. I'm a CPA. I have an MBA. I can tell you all my resume. But at the end of the day, I'm here to serve you and advocate for you. I'm not willing to back down. So vote for Maggie Solomon on the Democratic side.
I'm April Jones, running to be your next commissioner on Precinct 4. I have already been on the ground doing the work. I am the HOA president for over 8 years, so I've dealt with the community and community issues. I'm a small business owner, so I would know the budget. I wouldn't have to learn on day one. I'm also an elected official on the MUD board, and I'm also a former captain and precinct chair. So on day one, I could go in and get the job done by auditing the budget to ensure that we have a healthy budget and that we can allocate money for priorities that's needed in Precinct 4. April Jones, running to be your next commissioner on Precinct 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Disha, for putting this together, giving people the opportunity to hear from all of their candidates for Commissioner Precinct 4. My name is Brittany Morris. I have ran on unity in the community. We need that now more than ever. And I have been here. I have been in different sectors of the community. I've been walking, talking to neighborhood, talking to our seniors, talking to people of different communities. I have heard the voices of the people, and that is what I want to take to Commissioner's Court. I want to be their advocate. I want to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. I want to bring unity also to the Commissioner's Court. We need to work together and advocate for the people. On my platform, I have said over and over, I want healthcare accessibility. I want language accessibility. I want animal welfare. These are things that we need in this county. My name is Brittany Morris, and I will bring unity to this community, not only in the community, but in Commissioner's Court as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you all to the candidates. I'm sure all, and let's give a round of applause, of course. So thank you all to the candidates. First thing, I'm going to say some remarks, then we're going to hear from Disha. And then I know that they're going to want to have a picture for everyone. I know that, and on behalf of Disha, I know that this has been quite a sprint over the last several months of forums and block walking and campaigning and talking to neighbors and going out into the community and everything that you do to run for in the public eye and also as a public civil servant. So we want to thank you again, as I mentioned earlier, and I know it feels like a marathon and we're almost over. So I want to encourage everyone here, everyone watching, please go vote. It's important to vote. No matter who you vote for, it's just important to vote and exercise your civic duty. So thank you all. Thank you to Disha for putting this on. And I'll have someone from Disha here talk to us and give us some closing remarks. And then if you don't mind, if you could wait momentarily so we can get a picture with everyone. And thank you again.
Thank you. Namaste, everyone. On behalf of Disha, we are a 501c3 Hindu faith-based organization asking the community to come together and uphold dharmic values. First, I'd like to take an opportunity to recognize Judge Surinder Patel, who also joined us. I want to echo Ian's thank you to the candidates. You guys are brave. So we really appreciate all of you taking the time to answer the questions patiently and diligently. And we hope that everybody who's been watching on Facebook Live share this with their community members so that all the hard work and thought that has been put in by the candidates, that word gets out. We wish everybody good luck, and we ask the members of the audience as well as Disha members to come join our candidates up here in the front for a group picture. Thank you, Ian, for a very well moderated session again. We really appreciate having you come time and again at our request to host these forums. So if I may request everybody in the audience to slowly make their way and for the candidates to be seated while we gather behind you. We are your support and we are standing behind you literally. So please come this way.
And all the candidates, if you can please take your campaign material with you, because we are not allowed to give it to anyone as a 501c3, and we know it's very costly. Please make your way, please, to the behind the candidates. We'll take a group picture. And if you have not eaten cookies, please eat. Otherwise, all Disha team members have to finish it off, and then we'll have to run quite a bit after that. So please do so, and thank you, everyone. Yeah.